Welcome to the Art of Falling Asleep. This is a 5-step system that I've created that makes sleeping as easy as possible. So this is all created under the understanding that sometimes, even when you've done everything conceptually possible to get yourself ready to fall asleep, that sometimes there are some emotional interferences that we just do not understand, and it can be really, really frustrating. And I dealt with this most of my life, and I've been able to master the two most common and really the only emotional interferences that take place. Anything that is happening that feels like it's preventing you from falling asleep falls under the category of not having very much sleep confidence or being out of alignment conceptually. So what happens is that our conscious mind and unconscious mind will start to focus on the possibility of not sleeping, or at least approach falling asleep from this belief of I can't sleep on my own. Or we try to do things that take us closer to sleep, and it turns out those things that we're trying to do really aren't aligned with sleep biologically. And an example of this is like trying to shut off the mind so that we can fall asleep. I did that for years. I was just not very skillful at shutting off the brain, but as it turns out, the brain doesn't really shut off before you go to sleep. So I was really wasting my energy. So these steps are just going to keep you on track without really having to think about it. All you've got to do is try to master these, and it's not real hard to master these. So let's get into the first step, and I'm going to do this video by video for each step so that you can process this with one at a time and slow down to do this. So the first step is to decide, and we want to decide versus wonder. Most people who struggle with sleep don't decide. They get into bed wondering if they're going to be able to sleep tonight, and they also will not decide but desire to sleep. So these are two. Wondering and desiring are two things that come from a place of low confidence, and it's a little bit out of alignment with sleep as well. So what we want to do is decide, and this doesn't mean that we really want to sleep. It just means that we are ready to receive sleep. It means that nothing is more important in this moment than going to sleep. So what this does, this is something extremely important that takes place whenever you decide to sleep. We make it really easy to eliminate competing commitments. So when it comes to sleeping, there are 3 types of competing commitments. There is the distracting competing commitment, which looks like texting and going on social media, watching television, things like that. And then there's the mental competing commitments, thinking about work problems, relationship problems, anything that feels uncertain in your life, or even a thought that really has no importance in your life, but it's focused on the future or the past. And then the third type of competing commitment is something that if you have struggled mightily with insomnia, this will resonate with you, but these are timeline competing commitments. So for me, for instance, whenever I would try to go to sleep, this is what happened like almost on a nightly basis. Even when I was in an obvious decline or a spiral into sleep, at some point I would just get this jolt. It was just like this hand coming up through my heart that would just like grab my face and just rub it in my bloody guts. It was gruesome, right? Like sorry, I'm doing this to you, but this is exactly what it felt like, and it's really mysterious, and it's really annoying. And so whenever you can decide to sleep, this is really key right here. It turns out that we don't need to resolve timeline competing commitments in order to sleep. We just need to resolve the present moment ones. We need to resolve the distractions and the thoughts. When we don't understand the difference between timeline competing commitments and present moment competing commitments, what happens is that they just kind of swim around in each other, like sort of like like being in a blender that has no top, right? It just becomes one big mess, and we just get completely uncalibrated, and we think, well, you can't shut off the brain, and I don't know how to relax. All of these different things that force us into thinking I can't sleep on my own, right? So this is a very key element to sleeping confidently, is just to slow down, and before you even get into bed, make the decision that you are ready to sleep. It means that nothing else is more important. And when you do this, as soon as something tries to invade your space, it's like going to be in yellow neon, right? You're not going to be able to miss it, and you're going to know how to redirect that thought, right? So the thought comes and it's like, competing commitment. I'm going to turn this thought into something that has more to do with sleep. I'm going to focus on the sleep that I've gotten in the past. I'm going to focus on the fact that I've done so many things today that have prepared me for sleep. And it's really simple, it's really subtle, but it goes a long way. And the way it goes a long way is by preparing yourself for the later steps in the art of falling asleep, where we start to, where it just becomes easier to overcome what you've been trying to overcome, which seems insurmountable, right? It's sort of like getting a greasy pan that you've cooked with that is really hard to clean, and putting some dish soap, heating it up, leaving it on the countertop so that you can just come by and take an easy swipe and get rid of all the gunk. That's what we're doing here. So we want to decide versus wonder. Decide versus desire. We can make this as easy as possible, and you're on your way to doing it. So I'm so happy that you're here, and I look forward to hearing about your successes and even your challenges. If you have challenges with this, please let me know where something maybe isn't making sense, because we can redirect you and get you on your way. All right, I'll see you in the next video.